What's up, everybody? I'm Josh.
I'm Dan.
And we're the Cin-City Heartbreakers. This is episode number 3. And tonight we're going to get into an online championship that we did last night. And then break down some mid-round roster construction, some guys that maybe we're targeting, some guys that we might be somewhat fading to stay away from, and then honestly, just answering some questions and comments in the chat. So go ahead and throw those in there. And other than that, Dan, how was your weekend?
Busy as always, chasing them kids around, but good weekend. We snuck a draft in Sunday night, and it was a pretty cool draft, loaded with some heavy hitters, and a great way to cap off a fun weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to get that one in, and we'll throw the board up here in a little bit, but it went things went a little differently in that draft from what we've been seeing, at least in the drafts that we've been in, and from the way the ADP board kind of shakes out, and kind of had some flashbacks to a couple years ago for that draft. So
lots of yellow.
We it's this is what I feel like is the best. This has turned out to be my favorite time of the year, is over the next 2 months leading up to when we go out to Vegas. I think I almost enjoy drafting and just all the excitement along with that and the roster builds. I think I almost enjoy that more than the actual football season sometimes.
Yeah, the fun random hour and a half conversations we never know that we're going to have that aren't planned are some of my favorite, about the most stupidest backup tight end or whatever it might be. But that's why we're doing this, to kind of capture those conversations we have and how we build our teams and how we structure our teams and things like that. So before we get started too, Josh, me and you talk about this all the time. A year ago, I never thought I'd be doing a podcast of any kind. Met Joe at the Expo, and also the Expo's in a couple weeks. If you're there, please say hi to us. We'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But just want to shout out a few guys out there. Sent me and you both comments about our pod. It was really encouraging, and some kind words, and really, really appreciate that from some guys that we really admire, that's won a lot of titles and stuff in the NFFC. So that was really cool. Made my day a couple days in a row.
Yeah, really. And that just goes to show what just a good community that the NFC high stakes community is. And speaking of that, there is an online championship at 10 o'clock. And last I looked, there's 3 spots remaining. And if you're a first timer, they're doing a deposit match up to $100 right now. That code is first time 100 is the code to get the there you go. We got it right there on the screen. So go over to playnfc.com, and we don't get anything out of that. We just want to see some people, get into it and have as much fun as we've had, and
Yeah, just like us, Josh, like 6-7 years ago, we went out there and got one or two teams that first year and didn't know what we were getting into. And
I think we did 2.
Build it into what's that?
I think we did 2 the first year.
We had 2, but you never know what you're going to build that into. Didn't know hardly anybody out there, and now feel like we got a ton of friends out there, and it's our favorite time of the year. So never hurts to just throw your name in the hat and throw one team out there. I got a comment on what Billy said there. My teams on paper are always A pluses. I've never drafted a bad team. It's always the injuries and stuff I can't control. I've never been wrong.
Yep. But yeah, me and Dan's first time out in Vegas. Our first, we did. I think we did 1 draft on Friday, and we did 1 draft Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And Dan was pretty excited. He's like, man, they do this Hall of Fame ceremony.
Oh.
And he's like, it's supposed to be pretty cool. So we get out there, we sit down at our draft table, and first thing they do is announce all of the previous like primetime champions, and then they start calling the Hall of Famers up to the stage. And out of the 12 teams, or the other 11 teams, I think there was 6 either former champions or Hall of Famers in our draft. And me and Dan just looked at each other and was like, "What are we doing here?"
Oh, just write a check and be done. We held our own. We didn't cash the first year, but we weren't dead last, so we held our own.
Yep, and we've learned a lot and had a lot of fun. So let's just dive right into it. You ready?
Yeah. So I'll just kind of set it up before I throw it up here. But last night, Paul and Matt had a live stream. If you guys were able to see it, it was awesome. I know they had a ton of viewers last night. We picked in the 11th, so we're not going to go through and dive in to everybody else's teams, but we just want to go through our team and kind of do the process that me and Josh do. Usually we give it a day or so, and then we break down our draft and talk about some of our decisions and what we like or something we didn't like or something we might have messed up. So it's something we typically do. We're just going to do it on the pod tonight. And so we're not going to talk too much about other people's teams, but we are team 11. We'll make that big so everybody can see it. And I got everybody crossed out there, but if you check out the pod, you probably can figure out from last night some of the players on there. But we were team 11, Josh, and I'll just let you take off. And what's your thoughts on that first round and where we ended up at Chase Brown? And yeah, the Bengals boys were called out for taking Chase Brown at 11, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So in all honesty, we've probably missed out more by trying to be the anti-homer. But when your favorite team is, or your hometown team is, one of the better offenses in the league, it's not a bad idea to try to get some of them. So we had a draft last week and was in the right position that Chase Brown would kind of be there. I might be a little higher on Chase Brown than Dan. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I was pretty high on him last year, and then the first 5-6 weeks was rough, but those last 11 weeks, he really lit it up. So, I'm hoping that they're building on that. And this is a contract year for Chase Brown. So, Joe Burrow has made sure to take care of his guys and make sure that they get paid. And I think that when the circumstances are there for Joe to feed a little extra touchdown to Chase, or they're padding the stats a little bit, Chase Brown will get his to make sure that he has a good season and to make sure he gets paid. So I was happy with Brown. We could have taken CeeDee Lamb there, but we were kind
of what we were talking about in the moment.
Yeah, and 3 weeks ago, there was a block of green at 10, 11, 12, and then with the first 3 picks in the second round, it was just solid green. So that's kind of started to fade away. And so our thinking was, let's get Chase Brown, and then there's 3 or 4 guys there. He can only pick 2, and we know we're going to at least have 1, maybe 2 guys to choose from. And CeeDee Lamb, he took Hampton and London. CeeDee Lamb fell back to us, and so there you go.
I know I talked about this last week, and this is the second or third time we've had 11, but that 11-12, I just love it because, like you said, I like Brown or Hampton there. I like A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb there. We went with Chase, and pretty sure that one of those 2 receivers would come back, and they did, which I was really surprised CeeDee fell back to us. But we could have done the opposite, like you said. We could have went CeeDee and then probably landed Hampton or Brown, but there's a chance that he would have taken both those guys too.
Yeah, so he may have taken Hampton and
that's a hell of a combo there. So I like the fact that we got the running back and receiver, and I'm still going to take best player available there. I don't care if it's 2-2 or 1-1. But when you do that 1-1, it really leaves yourself open for that third round because, sometimes a running back falls there at 11-12, and sometimes, as you can see here, that whole third round was yellow except for 2 picks. So it gave us a little bit of flexibility. But I love the Chase Brown and the CeeDee start. And you said it last night. You can't ask for 2 offenses you want to have players from more than those 2. Lacking defense, good quarterback play, should have a lot of touches for both of those guys.
Yep. High powered offenses that's going to have to put up points to win games. The Bengals, they did, I think, as much as they could do to improve their defense. The Cowboys, they did some things to improve their defense. Doesn't mean that either one of them are going to be top 5 defenses. I mean, the offenses are still going to have to score points.
Both going to need to score 28, 30 points a game.
Yeah. So,
but I'll tell you that where it really got interesting for us is, the first 2 rounds we were just going to take best available, which we did. That third round, we were hoping for a couple guys to fall that didn't. But I like the fact that we went out and got our guy. It's like Ladd McConkey's a guy that me and you and I know Joey's been talking about a lot lately. I think we probably reached maybe half a round on him. I don't know where his ADP is today, but I'm glad that we went out and got our guy. That's who we've been really wanting the Chargers offense. Any pieces of him, Quentin, Herbert. I know we've taken a lot of Chargers passing game this year so far, but I know a lot of people like Zay Flowers there. We talked about it because we don't have any Zay shares, but something me and you were talking about on the phone earlier today. We're not high volume players. We're not just doing one draft, but we're not high volume. We're doing 8 to 10 of these. So I didn't want to waste one of my drafts with Zay Flowers there, but I don't know how you felt. T. Higgins was our other guy we were talking about there. We just didn't want to go too hard on the Bengals that quick, but I wouldn't have hated Higgins there myself.
Yeah, had we not got Lamb, that we would have probably been talking about Devonta Smith or Pickens. And
we were hoping Smith fell.
Yeah, Devonta went, so it was Ladd for us. I would have been all right getting a Zay share, but I'm fine getting another Ladd McConkey share in there. That third round is developing into the wide receiver round.
Yeah,
it's seems like the last few drafts. The ADP over the last 10 days is beginning to show that as well. And so, that's if you're waiting until after that third round to get a wide receiver, you could be hurting. Team 1, they got their first wide receiver in round 4, but they came back and went wide receiver heavy. So not knocking on anybody's drafts, because like Billy said in the chat, all our teams are the greatest until the season starts. So, but what's really interesting to me is the separation between Bowers and McBride that's developing, and that's significant separation of round and a half.
It was a little early for Bowers. We're used to seeing him go a little bit later than that, but you're not wrong there. The separation.
Yeah. So the after McConkey, it comes back through, and we pretty much know. I mean, depending on what the board gives us, if we go running back, wide receiver, or running back, we're gonna hammer some wide receivers out. So J-Mo came through, and as our third wide receiver, I think that's great getting Jameson Williams there.
Yeah, like I told you that you got to ride the wave with him. You just got to start him every week, and there's going to be a couple down weeks, and there's going to be some spike weeks. But I just love the fact that he was like 4th in the NFL with 90% of offensive plays he was on the field. So it's not like they're pulling him off. He's on the field. They just got to get him the ball. So I love J-Mo as a 3 there. I think they're high upside.
Yeah. So Nick, the Raging Cajun, yeah. I mean, it depends on where you're looking at, who you follow. I know I made the comment last week. I was going through my Twitter feed and I saw 3 different analysts talking about the same guy. 2 of them made him look really good, and 1 of them made him look really bad. And that's the thing, especially here in high stakes, is a lot of these guys, especially the high volume guys, they'll draft with a lot of conviction. They've got their players and they go for them. Emeka Egbuka right now is a guy that I mean, people in these live streams, we see him jump in the chat and they're like, what is this? He's in the second round, beginning of the second round, middle of the second round. That's crazy. What's going on? And, they go get their guy. And if you want him, they're going to make you pay up for him. So,
yeah, we're seeing it already.
Yeah. And Lad's one of, he's one of our guys. I will say I like him a lot better as our second wide receiver there rather than a first wide receiver. But Billy says passing on both Breece and Kyron at 411.
I was pushing a little bit for Kyron in the fourth, but we had a couple guys we liked there with Kyron and Hall. We figured one of them was going to come back to us, but we have a ton of Kyron. But 5'2", like I'm going to take that in every single draft myself. So, but yeah, I'm not as high on Breece Hall as Josh is. He's probably right on that one. But I love getting Kyron as your number 2 running back in the 5th round. Josh, we're going to do that every time.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron may have a little more, or Breece Hall may have a little more upside to him, potential. But Kyron's going to be solid. If we didn't have Lamb, just like with Chase Brown, if we didn't have Lamb, then we probably would have, been thinking hard about taking Javonte.
We like Javonte a lot, and we did snatch up Corum in a couple rounds after that. We don't always do that, but I just felt like the value was there because he is going to take some snaps, but Kyron's just efficient with what he does, and he's efficient around the red zone. So 60% of the snaps for Kyron can be a very solid running back too. If for some reason one of these guys gets hurt or benched or whatever, you have a top 6, top 7 running back in either one of those guys. So throwing a couple darts there, if they both stay healthy all year, they are going to eat from each other. But I think for where we got Kyron, and we had five of our first 7 rounds were receivers, to have him as our 2, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and got Dowdle. Well, let's just back up. Let's not get ahead of ourselves with the running back talk. Michael Wilson there as our 4th wide receiver. A lot of talk one way or the other when it comes to Michael Wilson, but as a guy to throw in your flex there, I'm good with that. I mean, we'll see how the season progresses for them and who the quarterback's going to be. But I think as long as Jacoby's there, I don't think they did one thing to make their defense any better. So they'll be throwing the ball at least early on, and then we'll figure it out from there. Our next pick was Cortland Sutton. Dan's bigger on Sutton than I am, but I think that's part of our just our chemistry is kind of trusting each other. And you'll see on down the line there, the second that we made the Sutton pick, Nick's kind of popped up for us that that's a guy that we may be going after. It adds another hookup. I'm completely fine. I myself would probably rather have Nick's as a backup naked. But Sutton's a good volume guy and can get us some touchdowns there. And as a 5th wide receiver, I don't think we went wrong with that.
I think Sutton's in for a decent year. I think Waddle's going to take that number 1 coverage away. And I think we're going to see a lot of red zone targets for Sutton. I think he's going to be, as a wide receiver 5, I really like him there.
If Bo Nix's efficiency doesn't improve, then how much longer do you think that they stick with him as a starting quarterback?
I don't think his job's in jeopardy this year myself.
Not this year, but I mean, if he has another year where
this ain't no dynasty league, Josh, this is a redraft league.
5. Oh, I know. I'm just throwing it out there because I think he's going to improve this year on that end myself.
Yeah, we both like Dowdle quite a bit. Obviously the coach brought him back there. He had 1,000 yards under McCarthy before. I really like Dowdle quite a bit. I think, Josh, you do too.
Yeah, I do. So Billy's comment kind of leads into, what we were talking about the other day, for our next draft. If we, depending on how the draft went, seeing about punting quarterback and just really trying to go with 8, 9 solid guys to start the draft to give ourselves some good depth, and then hit quarterbacks and tight ends after that. So that's what we're hoping for is obviously the solid starters, but everybody's pretty much, for the most part got solid starters, but having 2 or 3 guys to choose from for flexes for those bye weeks and everything else.
But I like where we went with quarterback. I love the hookups, and I don't want to press for it. And Dak fell to us there, so that was nice. We didn't reach for Dak. Might have reached for Bo a little bit. We could have taken Dart or one of those guys, but
yeah, we talked really hard in the 10th round, right? It's kind of small.
My eyes are too bad. Getting old.
Yeah, I think it was round 10.
It's round 10, I think. Yeah, Dak.
So round 9, after the Jalen Coker pick, we talked about taking Prescott there. We recognized that Jaden Daniels is still on the board, and we thought it was more important to have Corum. And at that point, there was only 5 quarterbacks off the board. So hey, let's see what happens and let it go. So team 2,
you're seeing a lot of pink in those 2 rounds right there, which we might touch on a little bit later, but you got to stay a little bit ahead of that run there, and not be on the tail end of that run, because you could see at 11, you could see 8 or 10 quarterbacks go before it comes back to you.
Yeah, and team 2, very strong drafters was drafting that team, and they pick Herbert, and then it comes all the way back. And when team 3 didn't take Jaden Daniels, I told Dan, I said, they're going to freaking get Herbert and Daniels. And because they've got Terry McLaurin, and and I could almost hear him talking like, "Are you got to be kidding me? They just gave us Daniels in the 9th round." And I didn't even get it all the way out of my mouth, and bam, they clicked the button. I mean, just jumping all over opportunity right there.
Do you remember last year when we were targeting Daniels and McLaurin a lot, which obviously didn't work out great for us, but you had to take them like on the 4th, 5th turn, both, or even 3rd, 4th there for a minute.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what's changed? And McLaurin's going to the 4th and Daniels going to the 9th. I mean, to me, that's crazy value. And they got the injury risk, and I know McLaurin's another year older, but I love what team 2 did.
It's just, I think that everybody knows that running backs are important, but we're all NFC guys, and we all want those yellow wide receivers on our team. So we go yellow, we get some green, we keep getting green and more yellow, and that pink just keeps pushing down the board because, it's not – there was so much value in the middle rounds at quarterback last year, and I think everybody's just realized, like, hey, you know what? We'll just keep pushing them down, and we can find guys that can throw the ball.
Yep, and we don't need to dive into those last few picks too much, but the last topic I wanted to talk about on this team, Josh, is my love of just like you said,
Troy Franklin.
Oh. Yeah, Troy Franklin. Paul loved that pick. We got the 9 players. We double dip quarterback, which I wasn't really planning on double dipping, but it just worked out that way. But we did the 3 tight ends. We usually only do 2. So we definitely punted tight ends, and that's definitely our weakness. And Paul pointed the same thing out. I don't disagree, but I personally am fine rolling. I think Britton Strange is tight end 12, 10, something like that. And then what we did is we grabbed Henry and A.J. Barner for the free look. So we might get lucky week 1 if one of them scores a touchdown and drops 14, 15 points. We're starting them. And then obviously see where it goes from there. But, and we could talk about it here in a minute when we talk about some of the mid-round guys. We probably could have traded off Sutton maybe and grab, Fannin there, or I didn't want to not have Dowdle and Corum. So I think if I didn't have Sutton, would be the one guy I would trade for a tight end right there. And and I'll hit on this because we talked about it. We almost took Kittle at that. Was that up here? I think we almost took Kittle first, but we were afraid that guy might snag Dak, so we thought Dak was more important than Kittle. But it would have been really nice to have Kittle there, Josh. I won't lie about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're probably nervous about the tight ends, aren't you?
I mean, other than Knicks, like, I probably would have liked to have had Likely or Goddard. We talked about Likely.
We talked about both guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I just just like the last couple years, except for the top 2 or 3 guys, we were always taking those tight ends 4 to 8, and they all fall apart. So if they're going to fall apart 4 to 8, just give me 12 to 15, and I'll try to find the free agent tight end later on in week 3, 4, 5. I just don't like spinning up for tight end, and we've drafted a lot of Kraft and Pitts, and I'm okay with that. But maybe we made that a little bit too
and
long.
I mean, you can always look back on a draft and then say, oh, next time we'll do this, and the last 8 rounds of the draft are not going to go the same. Yeah. But had we passed on Knicks and took Likely or Goddard, we could have got Sam Darnold down there in the 19th round as our backup quarterback.
There's a lot of.
And I almost wonder if he wasn't even going to get drafted, except for the fact that Team 10, I think they took him specifically for the free look. So they've got May and Darnold with free look. So that's a really nice way to start the season out, getting the free looks with 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
that's nice.
But overall, I was really happy with this team. I think it's pretty balanced. We'll obviously keep our eyes out for some tight ends, that might emerge during those first couple of weeks. But the biggest thing I think that me and you struggle with, it seems like our depth by the end of the year. We have really solid teams, and then it seems like that first round of the playoffs, they start crumbling on us. So I think we built good depth, good quarterbacks.
I mean, round 5, passing on Tyler Warren and Josh Allen, we did have conversation about that, but we know what that would have done to us possibly. So
5th round Josh Allen would have been good.
It would have been real good. But
you replace Sutton with maybe Tony Pollard or something there as your second running back. But I still like the Dak with CD because if CD blows up, obviously Dak's having a heck of a year.
If we'd went Josh Allen, we could have got Ramondre, taking a dart throw on Jonathan Brooks. Yeah. All right. Maybe it's not good to go back and look at that round. That hurts. But
I love the grading systems by some of these websites. I don't know where they get it from. I'm sure it was about a 15 for us.
I did not look. Is that a 79 from Billy Waz though?
Yeah. Oh, I'll take a 79 from Billy. I don't want a 79 from Fantasy Pros. I don't ever look at that ever. I always forget about it. But so Josh, that's that draft. So you want to talk a little bit about some of these middle round guys?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Even more about construction and kind of positions we're looking at. So I just took the OCs from this month. I think there was 19 of them, and broke it down in the ADP, and I just filtered out rounds 8 through 14. Throw it up there. We'll give you a review. We may not break down every single player, but we'll give you our thoughts. But Josh, what I wanted to show there is, and we don't have to dive into individual players unless you got a couple you want to talk about, but looking at the quarterbacks, look at some of that value at 8, 9, 10. Starting quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, that's why I don't care.
Sorry.
That's why I do not care to wait on my quarterback. Yeah, it's really nice getting Josh Allen. I'm not going to lie about that. But I feel like the value I'm getting at wide receiver and running back in the depth allows me to take Justin Herbert in the 8th with Ladd McConkey or Dak or whoever. Yes. I like Britton Strange more than Josh does. I think
that's why I couldn't sleep last night.
He's a top. He'll be 10, 11, 12. He'll be fine. And if not, then that was your pick, not mine. But I don't know if you want to dive into any of this, Josh, but me and you were talking about tight ends a minute ago, right? So look at round 8. If we start bumping that tight end up from 10, 11, 12, we should be in that Tucker Craft, Kyle Pitts, Fannin, which we like all three of those guys range. So maybe that's something we need to start thinking. I mean, I'm all the way good through Kittle there. If you are,
and it likely. And I mean, likely and Goddard and even Andrews. I know. I think you're more of a fade the Ravens, which is.
Andrews there. I mean, that's an easy one. Which we talked about him. He just got picked a few picks ahead of us, I think.
Yeah, the Dallas Goedert is one that he's probably, I think, in my opinion, the best bang for the buck tight end right now. Like I'm really looking forward to see what he does. I mean, I just feel like he's going to have that chemistry with Hurts. And him and Devonta Smith, they've played quite a few games together. But there's a new OC there. So True. I don't know. You don't know how that plays out. But to get him, I mean, you
got to think he's good for 8 to 10 touchdowns again, don't you?
If he's healthy,
he's going to be a red zone threat.
Yeah,
I love him opposite Kraft or opposite Kittle or somebody because I think he'll start the year good. And if he slows down, then you've got the other guys coming back, hopefully. So if we are punting tight end, to pair those two together would be nice.
Yeah, looking for guys that'll start off the season early, while the question marks with Kraft and them, your security blanket, I think, is a good way to do it, and it's not costing you anything.
And I like looking down through the wide receivers because typically, and I'll show it in a little bit here, our breakdown of our OCs so far, we're not taking a ton of wide receivers 8 through 14. This is where we're getting our quarterbacks, our tight ends, a little bit of running back depth. Because if you look down through there, I mean, there's some nice role players there, but you're just not getting that oomph like you're getting with those. Obviously, those first 4 or 5 rounds of receivers are better, but I just don't think you can make up that target share, the opportunity cost of those first 4 or 5, if that makes sense. Look at these guys. And, we love Matt Golden. I like Jacoby Myers. I know you like Higgins. There's some good guys, and there's some good role players, but I don't want to be building my 3rd, 4th, 5th receivers out of these guys. If I want these guys, I want them as wide receiver 6 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe – I mean, we'd have to go back and look at our teams from the last couple of years after we drafted, but I think that, wide receiver 5 and 6 is coming maybe in round 8 through 11 or something like that.
Yeah, we'll grab one there.
Leaves us a little light. I mean, looks fine before kickoff, but by the time October rolls around and we get into the bye weeks, it's a little thin. So I'm good with taking the wide receivers early and slamming them. I think that we see some goodness in the running backs, even in these mid rounds, early mid rounds for sure.
You got some nice role players there. And just to say this, and I know most fantasy guys are drafting this way, we're not going in saying I need 3 receivers, then a running back, then a tight end or whatever. We're letting the board dictate how we are drafting players. But this is what we're typically doing. So we do have a lot of the same construction. But, I mean, and Joe talks about 3 running backs. Like, we have a team with 3 running backs. And just because that's the way the value fell to us. So Joe's not wrong. You can get some decent depth there. If you got 3 solid running backs, then there's so many different ways to build your team. I hate when I'm listening to XM radio, and I love XM radio, but they get so hung up on these hero running backs and zero running backs. I don't listen to any of that stuff. I just draft the best team I can. And like me and you always talk about, like, we're trying to tell a story with our team, right? So maybe I take the 1 running back and then I hammer receivers. Maybe I pivot and take 3 running backs. You have to read the board. You have to read the room. You have to maximize. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where your points came from. You just have to have the most points to win the game, right? So, I'll let Josh talk about kickers, but hell, if it's your kicker, scoring 25 points a week, then so be it. So you just have to find the way to. It's a giant puzzle, and you just have to find ways to piece that together to score the most points weekly and yearly. Are you going to talk about kickers yet, Josh?
Not yet.
Okay. I know someone in the crowd.
I know there's someone in the chat who made a comment a week or two ago, and it got stuck in my brain, and I'm having a hard time shaking it. But you've got an NFC. We use team kickers. It's so if Brandon Aubrey pulls a hammy, it's whoever they pick up to be the backup. That's your kicker. You've got the Cowboys kicker. So, but with the Cowboys kicker and Aubrey, the Jaguars kicker, and Seattle's kicker, there's three guys right there that can kick some absolute bombs, and they score a lot of points. So, I think that with the new kicking ball, I can't remember what they call it, but it's definitely loaded. I mean, guys are definitely kicking longer field goals. And so I just brought up the point to Dan a few days ago, and
I'm a kicker, 19th round.
Laughed me off the phone. But I just kind of looked at it like, hey, you know what? Maybe taking one of these 3 or 4, big leg kickers, and getting up there in rounds, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 there, maybe 15, getting some of those big leg kickers instead of a guy that we're probably going to cut week 2. And if they're kicking 6 and 7 point field goals, that's a touchdown that we may not ever, that guy that we're drafting in round 16 or 17 may never get for us. So,
and those guys are scoring north of 200 points. And I'm going to help make your point, Josh, because you know how much I love kickers. But you're getting Aubrey in round 12, right? And you know that's your kicker all year long. What are you giving up? You're giving up Aronde Gaston. You're giving up Jalen Naylor or Flournoy. So you're giving up probably your 6th or 7th receiver, your backup tight end. You're giving up Woody Marks. And there's something to be said that maybe you have Montgomery and you really need Woody Marks there. But you're really not giving up a lot. If you've got the depth and you've got the build, you're not wrong about throwing a kicker in there. I can't believe I'm absolutely saying that, but we'll probably be trying that.
Yeah, so round 16 is where the Seahawks kicker's been going over the last 10 days at pick 11 in round 16. And then the Chargers kickers on the ADP board just a couple picks after that. So, not as early as Aubrey, but if they're going to, so that's kickers to look for, in that round.
Yeah, Joe. Normally I am. Like I said, I think last week, especially for defense, I'm just looking at week 1, 2, 3 matchups, and then I'm pivoting from there. But I think kicker. I think we're going to be taking our kickers before our defenses now. Maybe 3, 4, or 5 rounds early, depending on, what we've got. I want to go back and answer. I want to answer Nick's real quick. So something you got to really make sure of, especially on the NFFC sites. So if you have ADP at 214, I pulled this today from July, and you can already see Naylor's jumped up quite a bit because, Josh, we like Naylor quite a bit, and we've seen him go like rounds 10, 11, 12, 13 when we're drafting these last couple of OCs. So make sure you're updating your ADP and you're not just using the one from all year because it does.
So he's over the last 10 days, he's like
factor in
40.
Basically all drafts from all years. So, but no, we like Naylor and I like Trey Tucker. I think both are great flyers. I like Trey Tucker a little bit more if you're doing best ball. But we know Brock Bowers is 1 and Genty's 1A, but there's going to be some relevant receivers there. And we like what we saw with Naylor in Minnesota. He was always making big catches, big plays on 3rd down, had a handful of touchdowns. So I think you could do a lot worse with him as like your 5th or 6th receiver. So, Josh, I will throw up here now just to add some more talking points. So this is us. We've only done 5 OCs so far. Done a lot of best balls and some other drafts, but these are just our OCs because we really, me and you, our focus is OCs, prime times, and my silver bullet. So you can see where we're attacking, like, for example, our tight ends. And I think this is a good breakdown for us as just a practice. It obviously doesn't distinguish between the backup and the starting tight ends, but you can see where we're targeting. We know that's our Kyle Pitts shares probably right there, Tucker Kraft ones. This is where a lot of times we're hitting those Brenton Stranges and guys like that. So I think we could definitely bump this up a little bit, but you can see we're really hitting receivers in that second and third, which I think everybody's doing a lot of that, especially like you said, the third. And then it seems like we're really focusing on running backs 4 and 5. So it's definitely a trend, but it all has to do with the players you like and where they're falling at. But
it also has to do with the guys you're drafting with.
Exactly.
Who are they pushing up and I mean, there's times where all of a sudden you see 3 or 4 guys get pushed up and you're like, well, I wasn't planning on taking this guy, but here he is, just kind of like we did with Josh Allen last night and talking about him.
Yeah, Joe's not wrong. The NFFC, sometimes you just throw ADP out the window and you just go get your guys. Use ADP as just a starting point, and if you like somebody, you might have to jump up around to get them. I mean, that's what we didn't do our first couple of years, and we got burnt. But I just think this is a really cool exercise, Josh. I threw it in AI, and it's going to keep updating for us. So as we get up into 15, 20 drafts, kind of see where our trends are, or maybe we need to do a little bit different.
Yeah, and I mean, once training camp hits and you start to see that guy make that catch one-handed and, another guy tweaks a hammy and gets carted off because he has to go to the bathroom, and everybody gets carted off in training camp. And so
everybody gets carted off. Don't freak out.
Freaking heart attack. And then, and then he drops 2 rounds and the wide receiver opposite him jumps up a round. And so things get crazy here in about 2 weeks when training camp opens up. And then once the prime times hit. So I think that's a good talking point here too, is a lot of the high volume guys have a bunch of OCs by this point. And, so some of these players may be for ownership purposes, just getting a guy or getting a different build. But when the prime times start to fire here, I think beginning of August, then that board might look a little different, and it'll look completely different once those 2 weeks in Vegas hit, and everybody's getting their last drafts of the year in and going out and getting their guys.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think Billy was the one that said it a couple weeks ago on his pod or live stream. Like, as we get closer, just the guys that get shot off the board. I always try to figure out which guys are falling and is there any value there. But the guys that get shot off the board, it's just so quick when you get those last week and a half, 2 weeks of drafts. So you got to be careful. We get out to Vegas, and you can get nervous if you're not watching that queue. Like, we always have our queue just full of guys, but you can get sniped real fast on that guy you were going to take in the third that normally goes in the fourth that went in the second, right? So we got our 3 or 4 guys lined up, and all of a sudden he gets sniped, and you're looking at each other, and you're like, what the hell do we do now? So that's why I like doing these practices. I like doing these exercises, especially when you're partners. So we're having discussions, and we're not having a discussion in 60 seconds. We've had it for weeks and months and however long. But
we've got, and that's the whole sniping thing. Like, I don't, and Dan doesn't either. I don't like the idea of taking a player just so somebody else doesn't get them. Like, I want to take a player that makes sense. I want to take a player that I like. And, look at Tyler Warren and Josh Allen in that last draft. Like, we could have taken either one of those guys, but we took the player that we liked and the player that made sense in our build, at least at that time.
All right, we got a question, Josh. I got to break this down. So we got a 12-man super flex, start 10, So we got Goff and Geno. So love Goff. Geno, keep an eye on Geno. Maybe build some depth there through some trades. But love A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Cook, and Jacobs. You got a really solid 4 players there. Goddard, we just talked about Goddard. We love him. If that's Breece Hall, Chuba, I mean, you got really good running back depth.
Got Cousins back there on the back end.
Yeah, then you got Andrews, Strange. So really good. I think obviously your weak spot's probably your quarterback too. So Cousins is going to start out the year, so keep an eye on that. But we don't know. I think he's going to play longer. I know. I think his over/under Joe said was like 4.5 games. I think Cousins goes past the midway point myself. But definitely, I would get the insurance on Geno. I don't think he's going to get any legal trouble, but he got a speeding ticket too the other day, didn't he? Since the other incident, like 120 miles an hour is like, what's he, Rasheed Rice 2.0 here or something?
I don't understand why any of those guys are driving themselves around. Like, get somebody to drive you.
What do you think about those running backs and receivers, Josh? You like those?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Geno's probably your weak point, but you're going to have a weak point. So A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and you got Garrett hooked up with Geno. So in theory, if Garrett Wilson's going to do all right, then Geno's going to do all right. I like A.J. Brown. I personally think if A.J. Brown's got one really good season left in him, I think it's this year. If he doesn't do it this year, then he's just what he is what he's going to be.
Do you worry about a Patriots hangover at all? I mean, we know what the Super Bowl losers.
I worry more about the Rossini hangover.
About what?
The Rossini hangover. No,
Too soon?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really worried about it.
Drake May made a huge jump in 1 year. I mean, he was good his rookie year, but he made a jump the second year. I know
their schedule was easy, but hey, you know what? They still went out there and won. Like, you still got to go out there and
win. I don't care about the schedule.
Play well. So they'll have a little bit harder schedule this year. I mean, half joking about the Vrabel thing, but depending on how focused their coach is, these players that are returning, they're going to know if their head coach is off or not. But
I don't see that out of Vrabel.
You've got Josh McDaniels, who's, I mean, as long as he's not being a head coach, the dude's a solid offensive coordinator. I mean, he's pretty much proven as an offensive coordinator. So that's pretty much everybody's returning except for Diggs, right? And Booty's probably at some point.
Booty's probably on his way out.
Unless something's off with A.J. Brown in training camp. I mean,
I'm playing devil's advocate. I love him, but I like a couple days ago you said to me, I think it was a couple days ago, like, when's the last time Josh McDaniels had an alpha number 1? So I looked it up and looked at all the times he's been calling plays with the Patriots. And Randy Moss is the greatest year ever. I think he was there. But other than that, like, his best receivers were always Welker and Edelman, and more not role players, but not what I consider an alpha receiver. So, because I love AJ Brown, especially with Drake May, but he has shot up the board, mid third to late second. We've seen him go 111 the other night. So, I don't know that I'm going to have a lot of Brown because of where he's going at now. But we almost grabbed him over CeeDee Lamb, but we were going to take CeeDee Lamb obviously over him.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking CeeDee was probably the right thing to do. I don't know. I guess my biggest thing with AJ Brown is probably FOMO. I'd like to have him one time, because I'd kind of like to have Drake May one time too. But if we don't bring home an AJ Brown at any point, that's not the end of the world to me, because I know that we're still building solid rosters. But it would be nice to get at least one of him. But the same thing can be said about Drake May that's said about Josh McDaniels. McDaniels likes to spread the ball around, keep defenses on their feet, and Drake May is pretty much notorious for keeping a balanced attack and spreading the ball around.
He does a good job with that.
So, but I think, like I said, if AJ Brown has one big season left in him, this is it.
For sure.
We started talking about Patriots, and we got Joe Carlton.
He's all in the comments.
All fired up in the chat.
Well, our number one running back, I think, is Kyron, and the number 2 is Travion Henderson. So we're not out on the Patriots by any means. But I do worry about that when you have such a rise, not to keep talking about the Patriots, but they went – I don't know how many games they improved, 8 or 10 last year. I'm always nervous for that next year if they come back down to the mean a little bit. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, Josh, in that ADP? Any of those guys you want to single out? I mean, you can see from this list, from where I did something similar, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, you can see, like we talked about with Naylor, Florno's another guy rising. Keaton Mitchell's another guy that's I don't know what it was said that's made him shoot up so much, because me and you kind of think we don't know between him and Vidal what would happen. I personally think
I think Keaton Mitchell's going to have probably, 10 touches a game designed for him, 6 to 10.
He's dangerous with them though.
Yeah, and I think if Hampton was to go down, then it's Vidal's the one that's probably take his spot, because I don't think that Mitchell's built to carry the full load, or maybe it's closer to a 60-40 split with Vidal and Mitchell. I don't really know how they would play that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Harbaugh and McDaniels would keep us all on.
I'm so excited for that offense. I really am. I can't get enough Chargers right now. So sorry for the Chargers fans out there if I jinx you.
There's a player out there that I really thought that we were going to have quite a bit of, and I don't think we've got him one time this year.
Is it Quentin?
Quentin Johnston.
Yeah. We got
UJ.
Maybe just on my teams I've got him, but he's not on this list, I don't think, right? And he's not on this list because he's going around 6-7 right now.
Yeah, there's certain someone out there that really, really likes him a lot, and he's getting him before I would like to have him.
The one other thing I want to point out in this list, Josh, is we talk a lot about those. We grab 3-4 receivers. If we do grab our tight end or quarterback earlier, I look at the top 7 or 8 names. If we get a running back in the 8th or 9th there, I like a lot of those guys in there. I mean, we're out on RJ Harvey now, but Chuba Hubbard, Blake Corum, Gainwell, Rachaad White was in this list, and now he's out of it. He's been pushed up. But my point is, if you only have 2 running backs, I'm fine with getting 2 of these guys that share, because guys like Monungai or Dobbins.
I think Billy's trying to bait us on this one right here.
I like Quentin, I really do, but I just remember that damn game last year where he dropped like 5 passes. We needed 1 or 2 points from him to win a week, and
I don't like.
As long as he can catch the ball,
I don't know that I want Quentin in round 5. Like,
no, that's too early.
I don't know that I want to be bullied by the mob on this guy. Maybe take my chances with somebody else there, but not with Quentin. I just feel like we've been burned with him.
Usually, I like the cheaper guy if we got 2 guys, but I just like Ladd. If I can get Ladd in the 3rd, I just feel like he's going to catch a ton of passes this year. And I could be wrong. It could be Quentin season.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ladd's not Tyreek Hill, but I think that I think Keenan Allen stole a lot from him.
Those first 7 weeks last year, Keenan was really good. And I'll give you kudos. You called that. We drafted him out in Vegas, and I'm like, I don't want Keenan Allen. And he's like, let's play him for 6 or 7 weeks. And he was consistently scoring for us. But I think that hurt. Ladd got a slow start last year, but you remember week 1, Quentin had the 2 touchdowns in the free look game, which was nice if you drafted Quentin.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I mean, that's so into the sixth. Like Billy, I was thinking like, round 7 or 8, which was more like May draft season, and then he just started getting steamed up. It was like OTAs, and Mike McDaniels made a comment about his hips, and all of a sudden, there he went.
Is he going to be this year's George Pickens? When we get to Vegas, he's going to be round 3, 4. I can see it.
The hype is getting heavy on him, though.
It is. Joe got him in round 9.
Yeah, in round 9. I can tell you who wasn't in that draft.
Yeah, one of our nemesis that always likes to take our charters from us. But like somebody said earlier, we're getting these drafts in early, to try to get these builds.
Yeah, that's so May is an extremely busy month for me, and this year it was for Dan as well. And so we used to do cut lines. Cut lines are a lot of fun, but we started doing the OCs. We felt like they were better. Same third round reversal, better practice for the Vegas drafting with the guys that are going to be out in Vegas and doing the prime times and everything. So, and plus it's a shot at 300K as well. And so normally we would get in 1 or 2 in May, and we didn't. And I feel like we really missed out by not getting in a couple drafts in May. So you live and you learn, and I don't know, just have to stay up later or.
We're catching up, all right. We're getting some good value on some of these, and playing with these, high volume guys. They do let guys slip through the cracks sometimes, like you said. When they're going out and getting their guys, we're getting some better values. So it's fun. It's fun every week. I feel like the draft board is just so different every time we draft. So
yeah, last night's draft was fun because it was not what we were expecting to see, and that was a fun draft.
Yeah, that was a good draft last night. And if you didn't get to see it, check out Paul's live stream from last night. Like I said, there's 6 or 7 high volume players, some national champions, some overall league winners and things like that. And there is a really tough draft. And we've drafted with those guys before, and they never let us down. So shout out to those guys, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody's comments and watching, taking an hour out of their day to watch 2 guys talk about their partnership with Vegas teams. And shout out to Josh, to Steve, and Joe letting us, broadcast on their Fantasy Savvy channel.
Yep. Absolutely.
So make sure you like and subscribe. If you can jump over onto the YouTube channel and like and subscribe there, I know that does help those guys out.
Yeah, we're 13 away from 1,000 subscribers on the Fantasy Savvy channel. So like to see that get hit for Steve. I think Steve comes back either this week or next week to the Fantasy Roundtable. This Thursday night, I believe it's Thursday night we're doing it. We'll be hitting on the AFC North. So
something we know very well.
Yeah.
And if you missed last week, we did the 5 of us did the NFC North.
NFC North.
The NFC North, broke that down. It was a really good conversation with Joe and Joey and Mike. And like you said, Steve will be back soon. So our plan on that show is to knock out 1 division a week until the regular season. So I think we're right on schedule to finish that right before a couple weeks before the season starts.
Yeah.
So
then coming up, we're going to live stream the draft, and then get a little practice live streaming one, and then Billy, since you're watching and you're in the chat, get the Willy Billy team together. We like to throw an OC together with all the teams partnered up with somebody else and drafting his teams, and just have a good time with that.
We've got what do you got, about 6 or 7 sets of partners?
I think
already?
We've got like six groups of partners or something like that.
Steve G and Mike. I think Joey and Joe, or no, Joe
Yep.
Joe with Steve. I can't.
Yeah,
remember
I'm not sure. I can't remember who all it was. So,
but we're going to have some good stuff, and then we're going to do a live stream on here in one of the next couple Mondays as well. Oh yeah, Ace is up too. I don't know who Joe's got on tomorrow, but he had a hell of a show
tomorrow night.
Yeah, he had a hell of a show last Tuesday. If you get a chance to go back and you didn't watch that, it was really, really good last week. Oh, he's got Nelson on
tomorrow night. There's a little guy by the name of Nelson Sousa. He's
done a draft or two.
He has a couple drafts or two. Writes high stakes articles for FTN, which I specifically have not read because I didn't want it to sway me one way or the other for us doing this tonight. But I'll go read it now that this is over.
But yeah, we will be watching that. We'll be in the chat tomorrow. That's going to be a really good show with Nelson there. So yeah, we are going to do a live stream, one of the next two as well. Josh, I think we talked about once we get a little bit more comfortable with the program and everything here. But we'd like to see if we can get it maybe to 8 o'clock filled on a Monday and one of the next couple Mondays. So I'm sure he does.
Oh God.
I want to know how many drafts that guy does, or how many rosters he manages. I don't know.
I want to know how he manages that many rosters.
Yeah,
but it's a lot. It's a lot. But
full-time job.
But Nelson's he is absolutely one of the best out there. So we do not do auctions.
Don't really do any auctions. I've done them in the past. I'm not unfamiliar with them. I feel like they always take so much longer. But we always peek in at the ones in Vegas, and they're always fun to watch for a minute. But no, I feel like I am the worst auction. I always save too much money, and I'm always the guy at the end with $20 bidding on Kamani Vidal. I'm just
bidding on a kicker.
Yeah, I'll just be the first to admit I'm not experienced enough, and I suck at auctions. But we used to have a home league. We did an auction with that, Josh. This has been years ago. For 2 or 3, 4 years in a row, we did an auction with that. And when you're doing a live auction in my basement, it gets pretty wild. Yeah, 2 hours isn't bad. Auction live stream coming soon from Joe. So we'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
We'll be in the chat. We won't be participating in that one. Josh will be bidding on kickers left and right. They can get kickers for $1, Josh. Just throw that out there. All right, Josh. I got nothing else.
I've been picked on enough about kickers. I'm done. I'm done.
Want to wrap this sucker up?
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday night at 8:30, and every Monday at 8:30 until the season kicks off.
Yeah, really appreciate everybody out in the comments, everybody watching. Like we've said a couple times, we're just a couple guys. We never planned on doing this, so we're just having fun. This is what we do every day. So hope you guys got something out of it, enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.